A lot of you have been asking for a follow-up video. I'm going to do another one on Meshtastic, but tonight I'm going to talk about why we moved to MeshCore while we were building out our network. I'm going to caveat this with, I moved to MeshCore from Meshtastic probably 6 months ago. I haven't looked at the code recently. I'm going to throw a radio back on, but my information on Meshtastic might be outdated. The last time I was on the Meshtastic platform, any radio except one defined as client mute would rebroadcast packets. More packet rebroadcast is good, right? Not necessarily. We had a lot of people that maybe had misconfigured nodes, that had nodes set up as repeaters, even though they didn't have great height. They weren't in optimal spots. They just thought repeaters sounded better. What we found is that nodes that were configured as repeaters that weren't at a proper elevation or high elevation, and even some nodes that were just tucked away in people's apartments and houses, those really degraded the network. Part of Meshtastic's routing at the time was, hey, the furthest away client is probably the one we want to get our packet to, and then we'll broadcast backwards so that we can cover everybody. Problem is, sometimes those nodes that appeared to be super far away weren't really, but their signal levels were low because they were stuffed inside, or they weren't an optimal height. So the routing logic at the time really didn't do its best to get our packets out as far as it could, at least not in areas where we were. I'm 22 kilometers away from the closest mesh. I have a few people around that want to join as well, but essentially I'm 22 kilometers. Now keep in mind, we're not using expensive hardware. The board that's in this is the same board that I use on my Pocket Note. Now you can source these from the manufacturer. I believe they're in China, or you can buy them from Amazon. DigiKey even sells them. They're about $55. You can even get these cool modules. This is a temperature and humidity module. You can also get a real-time clock as well. Not so important with MeshCore though. Now, the NRF chipset in the rack wireless is great for battery-powered devices. It sips power, solar's able to charge the batteries, it's not a power hog. But you can also get the Heltec V3, which is a really cheap card. I think you can get a pair of them for like $45 from Amazon. That's Canadian. Now, why MeshCore? With MeshCore, I'm able to point to nodes and define a route. So, if I have a node that's 22 kilometers away on top of a grain bin, 140 feet up, I can say that my first route to the mesh or to the network is through there. Routing will learn itself over time, or rather the clients will learn the routes, but you can always define it. So if I want to get to a client across the city, I can define 2 or 3 hops. I guess that's the difference between MeshCore right now, is that well-placed repeaters, you're sort of building the network. Kind of like core versus edge switches. Okay, networking people, not a great analogy. However, you can hop through the city with 2 or 3 well-paced repeaters. I'm traveling over 55 kilometers across 3 hops, and I'm able to communicate with a guy on the other side of the city in Orleans. So maybe you need to let me know in the comments, what type of nodes are you looking to build? Are you remote? You want to build a solar node? Some of us found out the hard way that if the node's not built properly, you have power sags, the batteries aren't great. There's lots of considerations about brownouts. Not usually a problem, but it can be. If you need to do a software update and your node is 30 feet up on the top of a mast in your house or on a tower, sometimes you may have to go kick it. And there's a whole conversation to be had about solar panels, batteries, charge controllers, under voltage control. So let me know what you want to know more about. I'll do a video about it. Let me know in the comments.